As you know, I'm Tyler. I'm your youth leader, youth pastor. I don't know. It's just a title. As you can see behind me, the topic today is taking L's. If you don't know what taking an L is, if you're a sports fan, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, I know it quite well. Taking losses. Yeah. So, expert in this situation of taking an L. And everyone takes an L differently. And everyone takes it well. The biggest difference between me and my brother Davin, playing sports growing up, we were both very good. Davin was better. I liked winning more than I hated losing. Davin hated losing more than he loved winning, to the point where it was ugly. So those are the two big ways him and I took L's differently. But the first L is learning. You should learn from every loss you take. If you don't lose, you don't learn. And Michael Jordan, it's actually in your bulletins, a quote, he said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over again, and that is why I succeeded." That's Michael Jordan, the GOAT. If you don't know what GOAT stands for, the greatest of all time. So pretty much he said every loss he has in direct correlation for every win he has. In Proverbs 24:16, it says, "For the righteous falls 7 times and rises again, but the wicked stumble times of calamity." So just keep going. Every loss. It even says in 2 Peter 1:2, I don't know if that's in your notes, I don't think it is. "Grace and peace be yours in abundance through the knowledge of God and Jesus Christ." Knowledge is more than knowing. And the only way you get to know and knowledge is to take some losses in life. If you turn losses into lessons from each one, you won't ever truly lose. I've taken some big L's in my life. I went from being completely healthy, running. I used to be smaller, believe it or not. There was a time. But then I have CRPS. Whew, big L. Tinnitus. Whew, big L. All these things. We've all taken some big L's in our lives. Thomas Edison made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at inventing a light bulb. 1,000 losses he took. But he learned from each one. And his response to that was, and I quote, "I found out 1,000 ways of how not to make a light bulb. But it only took me one to get it right." And he wouldn't have gotten to that one without the 1,000. And it's more than just a Sunday service at bus. It has to be an everyday thing, how we take losses and how we have to take learning every day. In Matthew 11, verse 29, it says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle, I am humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." I'm going to move on to the second L, which is living. By the way, guys, with the kids, I don't preach very long. You got 15, 20 minutes with me, 20 minutes tops. Keep up, all right. Second L is living. 2 Peter 1:3 says, "His divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life, through our knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and goodness." Living equals growing. If you're not growing, then what are you doing? Don't just go through life. I want you to grow through life. But one thing is this, remember this, growing old does not equal growing. I know a lot of older people who act like children, and a lot of children who are actually growing as human beings in their faith. Just because you're old doesn't mean that you're growing. I should know that I have some kids in my youth ministry, even in my classes, who act more mature than adults, sometimes act more mature than me. I was like, oh, wow, this is good, I'm older. But then I was like, being old doesn't mean I'm growing. If a tree's growing sideways, doesn't mean it's growing up.
True.
People grow through experience if they meet life honestly and courageously. This is how character is built. And your character is your integrity. And if you all remember what integrity is, it's who you are when you know no one is watching. Because if you are, I could be the greatest youth pastor in front of you right now. But if I am living a life outside of here that is not of what you see in front of you, my integrity means nothing. It means everything I say to your kids, everything I say to you, means nothing. Because I don't live my life that way if I don't have integrity. I promise you, you see my mom outside of here, she's the same out of here.
Amen.
Yeah, if anyone knows it, you know it. You have to always work on grace. If you, not just for everyone else, but sometimes for yourself. Because as you take L's, you're going to need some grace. As you're living through life, you're going to need some grace. There's a lot of things you're going to go through. And how are you going to use those experiences with those L's to go through life? My third L, and I'm not done, don't worry, is leave it. Once again, leave it. So if it says in 2 Corinthians 3:11, so if the old way which has been replaced was glorious, how much more glorious is the new one which remains forever? You have to leave you behind sometimes. You have to leave things behind to go forward. If nothing changes, if the channel's on channel 3 and I don't push the button to go up, it stays on channel 3. If I don't put gas in my engine, nothing happens. As we mature and become wiser, it becomes easier to see what we need to keep and what we need to leave behind. Sometimes walking away is the same as moving forward. You gotta leave it. Colossians 3:3, for you died and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. Your old life is dead if you're choosing to follow Christ. And hidden. Stop trying to find it and relive it. The past is dead, it's over, it's gone, it's done. It's time to bury it. Why would you choose to live with decaying memories? Sometimes leaving it behind is a place, sometimes it's a group of friends, sometimes it's old mindsets. I have some friends that I can't hang out with anymore. Why? Because it's not good for me. I had to leave it. I have some mindsets that I have to leave it because they no longer benefit me. Why I took those losses. Like I said, I've chosen to learn from those losses. Sometimes it's a place. Some places I try to avoid. Why? I gotta leave it. Like I said, sometimes leaving things behind is moving forward. Be brave enough to burn some bridges. That way you have no choice but to keep going forward. I have to burn some. And it wasn't fun. I was like, why? Why do I gotta do that? Those things were no longer beneficial for me. But if the bridge is still there, that means I can keep crossing back and forth. Why would I keep doing that? My dad does this, says all the time, a dog will return to his vomit. I gotta burn that bridge. Holding on to something that was good for you in the past probably is the very reason you don't have something better. God cannot bless you with something better if you don't let go of what you're already holding on to. We've all seen that picture. I think my dad's even used it in the bulletin time. Jesus is trying to hand this girl this huge teddy bear behind his back, but she's holding on to this small one. She's like, but God, I love it. He's like, Just trust me. I was thinking, God cannot bless you with something better if you are holding on to something that you're already, they're holding on. God cannot bless you with something better if you don't let go of what you're already holding on to. My last though, you gotta love it. Sometimes you gotta love to take an L. Therefore, it says in James 5:16, therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. You have to love losing sometimes. I know that makes no sense sometimes. But if you don't ever lose, you won't ever learn to win. Losses has made better and stronger people than winning ever has. Example, losing yourself to attain God is far better than winning the world and gaining nothing. It's a process. I'm going to use the 49ers for example. I have it in here. I've used the Cowboys, but I can't use it because, hey, it happens every year. It's a process. Ed would know this quite well. The Niners fan, congratulations. Made the Super Bowl. Hope you win. I got $5 on it.
More than me.
Smart move. They were winning for a long time, and then they took a lot of L's the past few years. They had to get new leadership and all these things, and slowly but surely, they got better. They learned from every loss. Okay, we need this, we need that, we can't do this, we can't do that. And in a span, I don't remember how long John Lynch has been there, who's their GM. A span like 4 years, now they're in the Super Bowl. They learned constantly, and they got the results. It's a process. You have to learn to love the process, and the process requires taking an L. If you quit on the process, you are quitting on the results. My dad is a former personal trainer. Me and Charlotte go to the gym all the time. Everyone comes to the gym in January. And then I don't see him by mid-February. It's even faster this year. The gym got real quiet real soon. People will quit on the process. And why? Because of that, they will never see the result. If you have to grow, you have to go in your faith. And it's saying that I must become less, God must become more. Which means you have to go and God has to take your place. There's a great group of athletes, they call it I am second. Rule 1, God is first. Rule 2, never change rule 1. Let your life reflect the faith you have in God. Fear nothing, pray about everything, be strong, trust God's word, and trust the process. In sports, we have something called the 5 Ps. If you played football, you may have heard it. Preparation prevents poor performance. That's 4 Ps, my bad. It happens. It's a Sunday morning. Make sure you are not the weapon formed against yourself that is causing you not to prosper. When we all hear the saying, if God is for me, who can be against me? They're like, no one. That's a good Christianese answer. The answer is yourself. I can prevent me. I'm the weapon that prospers against myself. You are your worst enemy. A lot of people will make the excuse and say, I don't have the people in my life to help me with all this. It's a lot of work. Okay, remember this. Judas had the best pastor. Yeah. Judas had the best leader. He had the best advisor. He had the best counselor, and he failed. The problem is not the leadership or the church you go to sometimes. If your attitude or your character doesn't transform and change you will always be the same. If you choose not to learn from your losses and be a better person, you will stay the same because you have chosen that. I just said Judas had the best pastor, the best leader, the best advisor, the best counselor. You can't get better than Jesus. But he failed. I've seen a lot of people grow in some really crappy circumstances and grow for the better. So what's stopping you? I know this seems like a lot of work. The answer is, yes, it is. And I'm going to close with this few statements. Everything worthwhile is uphill. I want you for a minute to think about that. Everything worthwhile is uphill. The word everything is inclusive. My dad said, guess what all means? All. The word everything is inclusive. It's all-encompassing. Pair that with worthwhile. The things are desirable, appropriate, good for you, and beneficial. It's very significant. Anything and everything you would like to strive for is uphill. Meaning the pursuit of it is challenging, grueling, exhausting, strenuous, and difficult. But the implications are simple. There is no such things as accidental achievements. No one ever climbed the mountain of success, ever said, I have no idea how I got here. I just woke up one day and there I was on top of the mountain. No leader who has ever led people to do something significant did it without learning from taking an L. They all did. Don't believe me? Let's look at Joseph. Favored by his father, has all these abilities to the king of dreams, gets thrown into a pit by his brothers. Then I'm going to do this, serves Potiphar well, gets thrown into a dungeon for Lord knows how long, and through all those things, became the second in command of all of Egypt. At that time was the rulers of the world. That's just one person in the Bible. Oh, let's look at Jesus. He was betrayed, beaten, and hung on a cross. If that's not taking an L, I don't know what is. But at the end, he won, and because of that, so did we all. Remember, any climb uphill must be deliberate, consistent, and willful, and very intentional. And you will take some L's on the way. The statement, everything worthwhile is uphill, and taking an L, not only describes life, but explains the reason self-discipline is so essential to successful physical and spiritual life. You will take an L. You will take a loss. I'm not saying if, you will. You might take a L today. I might take a L today. I woke up this morning, my ear was bothering me. I was like, oh, great. Another health problem. Oh, great. This is happening to me. Lord, I don't have enough money. Lord, I can't find a job. Lord, I don't know what to do. Keep moving forward. Learn from every loss you take. If you're not learning from your losses, then you are losing. And you're not meant to be a loser. God says you are conquerors. Learn. You gotta love, when it comes to L's, I'll say it one more time, you gotta learn to love it. You gotta be learning from it. You gotta learn to leave it. These are all things that you must do in taking life. So I'm going to pray for the food. Oh, wait, my dad's coming up here.
Put ahead the time here.
You got that was 18 minutes, 44 seconds. That's as long as I got.
Good job.
Another L is lunch. Thank you, Tyler. Tyler's, watching Tyler grow, and he took a lot of losses. Okay, he was a point of depression at one time, and really wanted to take his life at one time because it was so bad. He every day woke up was worse than the day before, and he still goes through some stuff. But he has two more L's. Number one, he trusted the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Was it easy for him? Till today, it isn't easy for him. Right, Tyler? He goes and he said, you know what, no matter what. No matter what. And the last L I want to share with you is laugh a lot. You got to learn to laugh at yourself sometimes, right? Sometimes we take ourselves too seriously. And we look at things too seriously. Look at our kids, we look at our future, we look at this, and it looks lousy. But laugh. This is the day. I tell you what, some of us are laughter deficient. Amen. Right? Learn to laugh every day. Learn to cry every day. Learn to pray every day. Learn to love every day. I tell you what, then your day will be filled. Simple things. Tyler, thank you, man. I tell you, I'm so proud of Tyler. Just listening to the wisdom that he has, all come from his mother. Ed, I pray for your healing. Let me pray for the food. Thank you again. How about another hand for Tyler? Thank you, Tyler. Or the diesel. He's a diesel and I am high octane, whatever it is. Father, I thank you for the word. We thank you for Tyler and how you have shaped his heart. We thank you for this wonderful church, Father, where we're growing deeper and stronger in love with you and in each other. Would you bless the food and the conversation, Father? But most of all, we bless you in Jesus' name. And everyone said, Amen. Amen. Okay, how about a hand for yourself? Good job. It's finished. I'm sorry to wake you up.
How was your grandbaby Oh,